Welcome to Presence by Design. I'm Catherine. When you don't understand how you land, you risk relationships, promotions, influence, and opportunities without ever really knowing why. And in this channel, we're going to explore the hidden factors that shape how others experience you. So today we're talking about paradigms and how the assumptions that you hold about yourself shape the way that you lead, the way you communicate, and the way that you show up in the world. And this is not just at work, this is also at home. See, most people think that they're seeing reality objectively, but they're not. They're seeing reality through a paradigm. And a paradigm is a mental model. It's a collection of assumptions, beliefs, and interpretations that shape how you perceive the world. Essentially, it's the lens in which you make decisions. It's the lens in which you evaluate situations. And it's the lens in which you determine what is possible for your life. You know, the interesting thing about paradigms is that most of the time we're not even aware that we have them. We simply think that we're just assuming or we're responding to the facts as to like what's in front of us. But you know the old saying that two people can walk into the same meeting, they can hear the same feedback, and they walk away with completely different conclusions, right? One person hears the feedback and they think, wow, this is really valuable information. This is really going to help me grow. And then the other person hears the same feedback, right? And they think, wait a second, I'm failing. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this role. The feedback wasn't different, but the paradigm was. And this matters because your presence is not created by your title. It's not created by your experience. It's not even created by your communication skills by themselves. Your presence is the outward expression of the assumptions operating underneath the surface. It's your operating system. And if you have to believe that you have to prove yourself, you'll communicate differently than someone who believes that they belong, right? If you believe that authority comes with expertise alone, then you'll show up differently than someone who understands that authority comes from conviction. And if you believe that opportunities are scarce, you'll make different decisions than someone who actually believes that opportunities can be created. The paradigm always precedes the behavior. And that's where many leadership development programs just get it wrong because they focus on the visible behaviors, right? How to communicate, how to influence, how to project confidence. And those skills matter, they do. But if the underlying paradigm remains unchanged, then that behavior can't stick, right? Because under pressure, people don't rise to the level of their training, they default to the level of their conditioning. Think about a leader who wants to become more decisive, right? They can learn decision-making frameworks all day long, right? They can read books, they can even attend workshops. But if their underlying paradigm is, if I make the wrong decision, people are going to lose confidence in me. If that's what they're saying to themselves, if that's what they continue to believe, then they'll continue to hesitate because their paradigm is producing hesitation. The same thing happens with visibility. I've worked with leaders who say they want more influence, they want more opportunity, they would like to have more recognition, but beneath that desire is a paradigm that says, if I'm really visible, then I'll be judged. And as long as that assumption remains intact, they'll unconsciously avoid the very opportunities that they say that they want. So how do you begin changing a paradigm? How do you know which ones you even have? Well, the first step really is just awareness. You've got to start paying attention to your automatic interpretations. So when something doesn't go your way, what is the story in the first 5 seconds that you start to tell yourself? When you receive feedback, how do you interpret it? When an opportunity comes up, do you focus on the possibility or are you looking at the risk? Because those patterns reveal the paradigm that's operating underneath. Okay, so that's step one. And the second step is to challenge the assumption. You need to ask yourself, is this objectively true? Because paradigms don't give us objectivity. That's what a paradigm does, right? It skews that. And what if the opposite were true? What if someone with greater confidence, influence, or authority, how would they believe the situation? And this isn't because you're pretending. It's because you're examining whether your current paradigm is actually serving you. And most of the time, it's not. And finally, you need to begin testing your new assumptions through action because paradigms don't change through information alone, right? They change through evidence. So you need to be a detective. And every time you take an action that contradicts the old belief, you create new evidence about who you are and what's possible for you over time. And that evidence becomes a new paradigm, a new way of seeing yourself, a new way of leading, and ultimately a new level of presence. Because presence isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming aware of the assumptions shaping your behavior and deciding whether they're still worth carrying, right? Your results are often not limited by your capability. They're limited by the paradigm through which you're viewing your capability. And when the paradigm changes, everything built on top of it can change too. I hope you found this valuable. So subscribe for more conversations on leadership, influence, executive presence, and remember, your presence isn't something you're born with. It is something that you design. I do have a course called Presence Designed, Rewiring How You Lead from the Inside Out. I recently launched it. It dives deep into how to change your paradigm, how to understand it, and it's in association with my book. And you can see all the information below if you're interested. Otherwise, I'll just see you in the next video.